Welcome to Social Studies Samurai. In this video, we'll show you how to use Google Docs to create a Hyperdoc, a one-stop hub for your students that has all the resources they need for an assignment or an activity so that they don't get confused. It's really simple, so let's get started. A Hyperdoc is a digital lesson plan or activity that helps students stay organized by organizing content in one digital space. It helps students focus on using technology to learn and the teacher to teach, and not particularly the tools. It is an interactive learning space. This can be done in Google Docs, slides, drawings, and other places, and it helps students work independently, and you can discuss the topics and the activities in the class. Here are a few other examples. This one, for example, has learning objectives and curriculum content, as well as this one, and even goes through the steps, breaking them down by how many minutes students should be focusing on each. And because a Google Doc can be exported as a PDF file, this is another method in which the teacher can share the document with students so they can work, because the links are indeed interactive. So in building our doc, what we want to do is get all of this content with instructions into a format that's visually appealing for students, starting from this, a blank slate. So it's a good idea to have a plan. Now, the first thing you want to do is move your cursor down several lines. The reason is we want to put a nice banner here that makes it look a little more attractive and a little more professional. Then you want to populate all of your content here. It'll look messy at first, but you'll understand why. So you can see here I've prepared some background text. I've got my hyperlinks for images that I want to use, my instructions. I've got my numbers. We'll show you what we're going to do with those in a moment. And everything that I want to organize in my Hyperdoc. So I've kept some open space here because I want to put a banner in. I'm going to use one of my own images. So I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and I'm going to upload from my computer. And I'm going to choose the image that I want to use for my banner. That's it right there. Now, it's a little bit big, but we're going to fix this. The first thing that we want to do, though, is go up here and just change the margins. Just grab the little blue arrows to the left and the right and drag them to the edge of the page. And then you want to go over here to your left margin and drag it up. Now we've got our image here. Now the thing is, I want my image to go right to the end. So I'm going to tap on it so I see my little blue squares. I'm going to drag it down. Now that is quite big. I don't want the whole image, so I'm going to double click on it, just tap twice, and my little black bars that I see, I'm going to drag them down and drag them up to roughly the size that I think makes a good banner. I hit enter or tap out, and so now I have my banner. And now I can move my text up. That was pretty straightforward. I'm going to align my image attribution there. Always put the image attribution. So now I'm going to start from the top. I've got my title. I'm simply going to format that in a way that I like and a way that I want to be consistent throughout my doc. So what I'm going to do is first highlight my title, and I'm going to make it consistent with where all my other titles are going to be. I'm going to try to put a bluish page background, so I want to be careful with my color schemes. You might want to format your color in the end. Now, paragraph text is a little bit boring, so I'm going to highlight my text, and I'm going to go up to Format. I'm going to go down to Columns, and I'm going to choose 2 columns. So that looks a little bit nicer. Align it a little bit more. Now, it still looks a little bit boring. So I'm going to take my first image here, and I've got my link, so I can highlight it and copy it, or just tap and then choose the Copy Link feature. And then I'm going to tap in the top left. I go to Insert, I choose Image, and I'm going to paste by URL. And I paste that in, I click Insert, and see how it nicely aligns with the text. Now I want my image attribution, so I'm going to tap down a couple of times, and I'm going to grab my image attribution, I'm going to cut it and I'm going to paste it there. It's a little big, so I'm going to highlight it. We're going to make it smaller size, put it in the middle, and italicize it. I don't need that link anymore, so let's get rid of that. I want to separate this from my next topic a little bit, so I'm going to go back to Insert. I'm going to choose Horizontal Line. Maybe just fix the formatting a little bit. And now I'm at my next topic. So I'm going to highlight my instructions. I'm going to stick with my consistency with my first title that I put up here. Now, this is a little bit boring having just a bunch of text here, so we'll work a lot with tables today. So I'm going to go to Insert, Table, and I'm just going to put 2 columns. Now this one I'm going to highlight my text, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it in that first table. First column. Doesn't look great, so I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to go up to my bulleted list, and I'm going to give it some bullets. It looks just a little bit better. I think I might scroll that over a bit, and in this side I'm going to put an image. I'm going to put my own image in, so I'm going to Insert, choose Image, Upload from Computer, and I'm going to choose the image that I want. This one is of Sengaku-ji. I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to come back and change the size and the formatting a little bit. If I make that smaller by clicking my blue and dragging, I'm going to tap down. The image attribution is the same because it's my own. So I'll put my image attribution in there. And I'm going to make those both centered. Tap my image, put my alignment in the center. And now this middle line in my table, if I pull that over just enough, now I can see I've got my instructions and we're all on the same page. Now I don't want this border, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to scroll down to Table Properties. I'm going to choose 0 because I don't want that border in there. Let's go down to the actual activities. Now you might be wondering why I've got some numbers here. Well, I want my next part to look a little more attractive by having numbers beside the instructions. It helps students follow along with the process and the order. So I'm going to do this 4 times because I have 4 specific activities before the assessment. So what I'm going to do is copy this image 4 times. It is copyright free and does not have to be cited. And I will point out that the background is transparent. That's important because if I want to change the color of my page, the background of the page, then you're going to want transparent images. First thing I'll do is tap here, and now I can resize my images again, right? And I want to just cut out everything else out, just like we did with the banner. I'm going to make that as close to the edges as possible, and I hit enter. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to do that with my other 3 different numbers. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing this. Well, it's because I want to wrap my numbers with the text. So I'm going to cut one number, paste it here, tap on my number, and choose Wrap Text. This gives you better alignment, and it's kind of difficult to do in a table, which is a table that I'm going to make in a moment. We'll do that with all of our activities. Now my numbers, the images may not be the same size. So I'm going to tap them, and I'm going to go up to Image Options. And I'll choose Size and Rotation. And I'm just going to make sure that the height and the width are consistent. So now these are pretty much looking the same. What I want to do next is take these links, and I want to hyperlink them to the text I want to go with it. So I've highlighted my text. I'm going to go to Insert Link, paste it, and click Apply, and do that with my other activities and links. So now I have my activities ready. I want to create a table. Now what I want to do with my table is put an image in as well. So I'm going to go to Insert, Insert Table, and I've got 4 different activities, and I have 2 different columns that I want. But I'm going to make the left column a little bit smaller because I don't want my images to be too big. So the first thing I'll do is insert my first image. My first image is going to be one from the internet. I've got my citation and whatever, so I'll put that in my cell, insert image by URL, paste my URL, and click Insert. Now, my other images I know, because I have a plan, are portrait. So I'm just going to modify this, and the usage rights for this image allows me to modify. I click Enter, and so now I'm ready to put my text in. But let's put my other images in first and see that they align well. So now my images look pretty good. I could tap on my image, and if I want, I could actually make it a hyperlink. But for now, I want to put in my text. So I'm going to copy the space I want to use. I'm going to paste it in and just do a little bit of formatting so I can see how it's going to look. That looks pretty good to me. So I'll do that with the rest of my activities. So now I have my activities. They look pretty good. I want my images to look a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is actually add a border. I'm going to click on the image. I'm going to go up to border weight. I'm going to choose maybe 4. That doesn't look too good. Let's go with 2. It means I might want to drag this over just a little bit. And that looks okay. So I'll do that with my other images. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead and delete all of my other text that I had. Now, I don't like this table border, so I'll do the same thing. I'll go to Table Properties. I'm going to actually take the border out and click OK. And so now that looks pretty good. I want to work on my final part, which is assessment. First thing I want to do is make sure I stick with my consistency in my formatting. So for this, I'm going to insert a table with 2 rows and 2 columns. I will put my assessment activity, and I'm going to do my extension activity. Here, because they're Google Forms, I'm going to take this image that I uploaded from the net that has a transparent background. So I've changed my formatting just a little bit. Now I'm going to put my text in here. Now I'm going to add my hyperlinks. So I highlight my text. I go up to my Insert Link, click Apply, and so they don't have the ugly HTTPS long URL. Because this is assessment, it's a special part, I think I'm going to give this a border. I'm going to change the border weight, and I'm going to make the border color similar to my theme, which is kind of a light blue. Now I have some extension activities. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert a table and have a title. So I've used the same process, and now I'm going to look over my whole doc. So as I look over my doc, it's looking pretty good. I think I might want to make the page color a little bit different. And of course, get rid of that extra page that I have there. So if I want to change the page color, I simply go up to File, I go down to Page Setup, and then I'm going to choose Whole Document under where it says Apply To. Then I'm going to go down to Page Color, and you notice you could make this landscape if you want. I'm going to go up and choose a light blue. I'm going to click OK. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe I want it a little bit lighter, so I'm going to go back to my page setup, and with my page color applied to the whole document, you notice I've got this custom. So I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to drag my color picker just so the hex is a little bit lighter. Click OK, and yeah, it changed a little bit. I might deal with that a little bit later. So now what I want to do is make sure that I go up to Share and make it public on the web or share it to Google Classroom. If I want, I can go to File, Download, choose PDF, and my dialog box will allow me to change the title, and I can also share it as a PDF link with students if I would like. So now I've got my Hyperdoc with my clearly understandable activities, with assessment and extension activities, and other things for those that want to learn just a little bit more. Thank you for watching the video. If you are a student or a teacher of subjects like history, geography, politics, and economics, you can find more resources on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on the web at socialstudysamurai.com. I hope to see you again.